I thought that there were segments in the game where we did some good things. We came into the game for the last 3 or 4 days talking about what a rivalry is. And, in this profession as coaches, you don't want the pressure to be on your players. I do. I want these young men to know that this state, these two programs represent something. And there's a pride in wearing that jersey. And so I didn't avoid it. I wanted them to know that we're playing a team that's one of the best teams in the country. I don't care what the critics say. I watched them play. I know the coach. I know the coach is. I know the players that's on the team. They are one of the best teams in the country. It may not look pretty at times, but when you're playing a team like that, the number one thing that jumps off, the physicality of the game, the toughness of the game, the fight that you gotta have to win a game, the rebounding. There are 2 areas that were vital for us. They scored 20 points on offensive rebounds. They scored 19 points off our turnovers. You can't win. You can't win when a team is as big as they are, as strong as they are, as defensive-minded as they are. You have to match their intensity. And it's the reason why Kentucky's Kentucky. It's the top of the hill because they impose their will on you, and that's what they did to us today. Questions?
Kenny, there's not a lot of Louisville coaches that come in Rep Arena and get an applause like you did. So what's it mean to come back, obviously on the other side of the rivalry again, but to get that type of reception from the fans?
I appreciate it. I respect Kentucky. I loved it here. To have them welcome me is great, but again, I said this over and over again, this isn't about me. This is about these young men. I can't make my program be about me. There was so much for me coming back to Louisville. It's about helping these young men get what they need to get to understand the treasures of what it means to play at a university like this one, Louisville, and also be a part of one like this one, Kentucky. So it means a lot.
They've obviously got a pretty good defensive backcourt, and you were able to get into the lane and make some things happen, and only 2 turnovers in your minutes. What was working for you, and as the game went on, did it feel like you had a lot to try to do to get back in it?
Really just playing with pace. Playing smart.
Sorry, sir. Let's move the microphone.
Really just playing with pace, playing smart. That's one thing I've been trying to focus on is my turnovers, and I feel like today, I try to play off 2 feet more. I tried to not use so many dribbles. Really just play with a purpose. So that's it.
Yeah, for Kenny, Jacob Toppin only had, I think, 9 points in the last 4 games combined, and he had a career day today with 24, hit a bunch of mid-range shots and some offensive rebounds. Why did he give you guys so much trouble?
Jacob Toppin is a good player. He's a high-level player. He's capable of dominating the game. We knew that coming in. We knew that he had struggled a little bit coming into this game, but it's a rivalry game, Rick. You know what's going to happen. He's going to play his best against us. We got to match that. What I was hoping to do was to go at him a little bit with Brandon. And I think what Brandon found out is that he's an elite athlete with the way he moves as well. He's quick. He can handle the ball well enough to get to spots on the floor. He can shoot it decent enough, and he's relentless when he's on top of his stuff. They're going to get offensive rebounds. So he put us on our heels instead of we putting him on his.
Kenny, Oscar's typically going to get his, but, with the rivalry, were you disappointed with the lack of physicality that you showed against Oscar today?
Very, very disappointed. We spent 3 or 4 days working on rebounding. working on fighting for position. We know he's going to get deep in the post. He is, without a doubt, the most physical player in college basketball. He is, without a doubt, the best rebounder in college basketball. He is, without a doubt, one of the kids in the country that imposes his will on a basketball game. And in order to play against a kid like that, a player like that, you better be ready for a war. He brought it to us. It put us on our heels. At times, it looked like he reacted twice before we reacted once. I'm very disappointed in that. And we'll keep trying to get it and keep trying to, help these kids understand. One of the things that I tried to do coming into this game is look at how he plays post offense. He's never running outside the lane. He's fighting you to get 3 feet from the basket. Look at how he's relentless on offensive rebounds. Why can't we do that? It's not about the skill, it's his will and his faith in his God to be able to do the things that he's doing. He's a unique basketball player that deserves a lot of credit.
Kenny, I think against power conference schools now, you guys are losing your games by about 26 a game. It's obviously the ACC the rest of the way. What gives you confidence, if you have it, that you guys can still improve, that you've got somewhere to go from here?
First thing is I go back to the first days of practice and how far we've came from that day to this day. We're not even the same team. And I see us getting better in areas. But I also see us not really understanding the fight. There's another part of this game that's not about dribble, shoot, or pass. It's about a will of team versus another team. It's about individuals imposing their will on a game. That's what I'm trying to teach. That's why we have 3-hour practices. That's why I do a lot of conditioning, because I want them to overcome their fears, doubts, whatever it is, insecurities, to be able to conquer themselves and then become a team and become a unit and help build each other up. We are making strides. I can't sit here and tell you that we're going to go out and win the next 20 in a row, 10 in a row, whatever. I can just tell you every day I'm pushing these guys to get better, and they're trying.
For L and Mike, one of the things that's happened in every game, not every game, but in all the blowouts, is one mistake happens and then 3 or 4 mistakes happen. How do you keep it from snowballing, and how frustrating is it? And do you think about it with oh no, here we go again, when it starts to happen?
I think we just got to think next play mentality. If we make a mistake, we got to get back on defense and try not to make that mistake again. I think if we change that, we'll limit the runs that the teams go on, and we'll be in a lot of closer games. Just having the next play mentality.
Yeah, like Mike said, just think about the next play and not the mistake that you just made. I mean, basketball is a long game. Teams don't go on runs, so you got to be able to withstand their runs and be able to lock in and focus and get on the run on your own. So I just feel like when times get tough, we just got to come together more and just continue to fight.
For El and Mike, when your coach says, it's about will and it's about fight, what does that make you guys think, and what's separating you guys from getting over the hump in those areas?
I just feel like guys really just got to own up and listen to what coach is saying. This is a tough level to play at. These are really good teams, and you can't just go out there and just play. You really have to fight every possession. Every possession you have to play like it's your last. So I just feel like guys got to understand that and just lock in.
Yeah, I agree with El, and I also think you just got to take it personal with yourself. If he's challenging you in that area, you just got to look at yourself and be I got to be better. I got to give more effort. I got to do more things, the little stuff on the floor, dive on the floor for a loose ball, hit somebody on the box out and stuff like that. Just play harder.
Yeah, Kenny, this one's for you. You talked about the toughness and the will and the fight. At this point in the season, I guess how concerning is it that you still have to try and search for it? And when do you become concerned that message might just not be landing right now?
Here's the answer to your question. The beginning of the second half, we cut the lead to 8. That means it's working. But what happened after that? From 8, the next 8 possessions, 5 or 6 of those were turnovers. So we were down. We came back. We jumped on them. We got the lead to 8. They were up 8. And then something went south. We got to eliminate that. So do I feel like they're closing their ears to what I'm saying? They have to answer that. Am I going to stop saying it? No. Until the end of the season, I don't care. I know I got a job to do. I'm trying to establish culture. I'm trying to establish a culture where it's not about skill. It's about our will. It's about our teamship. It's about our love for each other. It's about fighting together. It's about knowing you have a purpose for everything that you're doing on that court. And it's not about one individual or 2 individuals. L. Ellis can tell you, I'm on him every day about make sure you're a giver to this team, which means I don't want to see you get 30. I know you can get 30. I don't want to see you get 30 and have 2 assists. I want to see the opposite. I want you to have 15 assists and get 10. I want him to be a giver. That's the culture that I'm asking, and that's what I'm going to continue to ask. I think they're getting better again. Is it good enough? Not quite yet.
Last question, Brett.
Kenny, how is this team at, when you drill something in practice, when you go over something in the shoot around, when you draw up something in the timeout, how is this team at taking it to the floor and executing what you've talked about?
At times it's a struggle, to be honest with you. There are times it's a struggle. There are other times when we execute and we get the shot that we want and we miss it. I'm good with that. That's a win. If we execute and set a great screen and L comes down and the defense collapses and he sees a skip pass and he makes the pass and he hits the guy right in the shooting pocket, the guy shoots it and misses, I'm good with that. That's a win. What I'm not good with is if I say, okay, somebody go set the screen for L, make sure the defender goes over the top and the defender goes over the bottom. I'm not good with that. So there are still plays where the latter is happening. We have to continue to stress that, continue to practice that, continue to show film on that, demand it, and get better at it.